histology of lymph node, in which we are going to see anatomy of lymph node, blood supply of lymph node, functional compartments of lymph node, normal histology as well as cytology of lymph node. Lymph node is basically a bean-shaped, ovoid, encapsulated, highly organized structure that are interposed along the large lymph vascular regions such as neck, groin, axilla, lung hyla, mesentery of the bowel and para-aortic areas. Human body has about 450 lymph nodes. Normal size of the lymph node is less than equal to 1 centimeter. Lymph nodes are the primary site to stimulate the immune response of antigen in the lymph. In this diagram, we can see here from outside to inside following structures are seen. First is the capsule of the lymph node. Beneath the capsule, we can see a subcapsular space. The importance of this small but very important structure is that mets from different carcinomas first starts in the subcapsular sinus, then they spread into the lymphatic parenchyma. After that, we move towards the zones of the lymph node. First is the cortex. Below the cortex, we can see here is the paracortex, and below the paracortex, we can see here is the medulla. In the cortex, we can see these ovoid structures, which are the lymphoid follicles, where we can see here these are the primary follicles, and the second structure we can see here is the secondary follicle, which I'll be explaining in later presentation. And in the medulla, we can see efferent lymphatics and efferent lymphatic vessels and arteries and veins. In this diagram, we can see here is the capsule. Below the capsule, we can see the subcapsular space. Below the subcapsular space, as we saw, we can see here also the cortex, paracortex and the medulla. In the cortex, we can see here is the primary follicle, which is homogeneously stained, and this one is the secondary follicle, which have a paler center. In the then below the cortex, we can see is the paracortex. Below the paracortex, we can see here is the medulla. In the medulla, we can note two structures. This one is the medullary cords, and these are the medullary sinus. So what are medullary cords and medullary sinus? Medullary sinus are basically the interconnecting lymphatic channels, and medullary cords are the cortical cell mass which are extending into the medulla. Moving on to the blood supply of the lymph node. Blood supply of the lymph node is derived from the small arteries which enter in the hilum and gets branching into the medulla, forming an extensive capillary network. These we can see here they are forming the extensive capillary network in the zones of the lymph node. Then going out through the venules from the hilum. This blood supply is the main entry of the lymphocytes into the lymph node. Now a very small but very important structure that are high endothelial venules. These are mainly present in the paracortex of the lymph node. They are post-capillary endothelial venules which have a cuboidal lining epithelium that are specialized for the exit of the lymphocytes. High endothelial venules drain into small veins that leave the lymph node via the hilum. In this diagram, we can appreciate here the high endothelial venules. Then after the vascular system, we move towards the lymphatic sinus of the lymph node. Lymphatic sinus carry the lymph from afferent lymphatic channel of the lymph node to the efferent lymphatic channel of the lymph node. There are basically three lymphatic channels. First is the marginal or subcapsular sinus. This marginal or subcapsular sinus is present just below the capsule, just below the capsule of the lymph node. The labyrinthine or labyrinthic medullary sinus. Labyrinthic medullary sinus are the meshwork of the meshwork of the sinus which are present beside the medulla. And cortical or trabecular sinus are the sinus which runs adjacent to the tabicula of the lymph. Here we can appreciate the flow, lymphatic flow from the afferent lymphatic vessel. It moves and it exits in the efferent lymphatic vessel. Moving to the functional compartments of the lymph node, which are basically the vascular compartment, stromal compartment, and the lymphatic sinus or lymphatic compartment. Vascular compartment, as the name suggests, it delivers lymphocytes and lymph along with the usual nutrients. The stromal compartment is packed with lymphocytes and antigen presenting cells, and the lymphatic compartment acts as a sieve for the antigen. Moving on towards the structural component of the lymph node, the main structural support of the lymph node is derived from collagenous capsule and trabeculae. We all know what is collagenous capsule, but what are trabeculae? Trabeculae are basically the extension of the collagen into the lymph node, into the lymph parenchyma, which in this reticulin stain diagram we can appreciate. This is the collagenous capsule. The trabeculae is extending into the lymph parenchyma, which is really sparse in the follicular area. Here a very important cell which have its role are the fibroblastic reticulin cells. These cells not only have a role in formation of the collagenous capsule, but also have role in bringing the dendritic and the antigen cells in the lymph node. Then as we have seen, we have studied about the high endothelial venules, but how these high endothelial venules are connected to the how these high endothelial venules work in the lymph node. These work via the conduct system. These conduct system are specialized collagenous fiber present in the paracortex, running from the subcapsular sinus to the high endothelial venules. Here we can appreciate the structure. This connecting the subcapsular sinus to the high endothelial vessel are the conduct system. Then after studying the normal anatomy of the lymph node, we move towards the histology of lymph node, in which the first structure, outermost structure, we saw as capsule and subcapsular sinus. Here we can appreciate is a collagenous fibrous capsule of the lymph node. Below the capsule, we can see here is the subcapsular sinus. In the subcapsular sinus, we can appreciate here is the sinus macrophages. So what are the sinus macrophages? These are the macrophages which we also called as strainer of the lymph node. These macrophages, the large molecules coming into the lymph node are filtered out, and the small molecules that are not filtered out go into the parenchyma of the lymph node. And this subcapsular sinus are lined by the endothelial cells. Moving on to the cortex of the lymph node, the main component of the lymphoid follicle, the main component of the cortex is the lymphoid follicle, which are present in the outer part of the cortex. There are two types of lymphoid follicles. First is the primary primary follicle, which are the aggregates of B cells in the resting state. When these B cells get stimulated, they form into a secondary follicle by an antigen. Secondary, here we can appreciate the structure of secondary follicle. As I have described earlier, secondary follicle have a palar center, which is the germinal center, and outside it is the mantle zone of the secondary follicle. So mantle zone is usually asymmetrical, which is wider towards the capsule, made up of small resting B cells, condensed nuclear chromatin, thus giving them a dark blue color. And germinal center are comparatively large and paler, and is the site of B cell activation, clonal expansion and differentiation, consist of dividing B cells. The marker of B lymphocyte is CD20. Here in this diagram we can appreciate two germinal centers. This is the two secondary follicles. This paler structure is the germinal center, and the outer structure is the mantle zone, similar in this follicle. Moving on towards the cells of the germinal center. The main cell in the germinal center are actively dividing B cells. Basically what happens is, when the resting B cells are stimulated by an antigen, they transform by the blast transformation. They get transformed into different types of cell up to its maturation. The first cell which is formed is the centroblast. Then the centroblast gets divided and it forms a cleaved irregular shaped nucleus. It forms a cleaved cell which has a cleaved nucleus in it, which is centrocyte, and this centrocyte after several division and transformation forms a immunoblast, or also called as memory B cells. Here in this diagram we can appreciate this structure. These are the centrocytes. Centrocytes have a cleaved nucleus. It has a characteristic appearance of cleaved nucleus. These are the centroblast. The main difference between these two is centroblast have mitotic figures, whereas centrocyte mitotic figures are absent. Then centroblasts are mitotically active cells with round nuclei that are found in the darker zone of the germinal center, closer to the medulla. Centrocytes are of variable size and have folded irregular cleaved nuclei found in the paler zone of the germinal center towards the lymph node capsule. Immunoblasts are the matured form of the B cells which are formed from the centrocyte after several cycles of division in the paler zone of the germinal center. The cycle explaining the different cells and its moving on. We have seen the cortex. Now we move to the next zone, that is paracortical zone of the lymph node. T cells are the main cells of the paracortical zone. Marker of T lymphocyte is CD3. Here in the paracortical zone we can see a very important reaction, that is paracortical reaction, which is division of the T cells in the immunoblast to produce clones of activated T lymphocytes in the paracortex. That is immunological response in the paracortex, which is paracortical reaction. The dendritic cell are the main antigen presenting cell in the paracortex, which are derived from macrophages. Here we can appreciate is the paracortical reaction at low power, and at high power we can see here transformation of the T lymphocytes into immunoblast. Moving on towards the medulla of the node, medulla of the lymph node. Medulla consists of branching medullary cords separated by irregular medullary sinus. I have already explained what are medullary cords. These are the cortical cell mass in the medulla, and medullary sinus are the interconnected lymphatic sinus, and also trabeculae. Trabeculae are the extension of the collagenous capsule in the lymph node. The major type of cell in the medullary cord are plasma cell and plasmablast. The immunoblast or memory B cells further migrates in the medulla to get converted into plasma cell or plasmablast. Plasma cells are the B lymphocytes after complete maturation, which further synthesize the antibody which is circulated in our body. Medullary sinus contains sinus macrophages. Here in this diagram, low power diagram, we can appreciate these are the medullary sinuses which are irregular and the medullary cords. On high power field we can appreciate this the structure showing here is the medullary cord, in which we can see here are the plasma cells, and the structure beneath it is the medullary sinus, in which we can see are the sinus macrophages. Now that we have seen histology of the lymph node, in which we have saw the zones of the lymph node, various structures, we move towards the cytology of the lymph node. Cytoplasm of the lymph node is very fragile. There are two consistent findings we can see in the cytology of lymph node. First is the dispersed cell pattern of the lymph node cells, and second is the lymphoglandular bodies. So what are lymphoglandular bodies? Here in this diagram we can appreciate they are the cytoplasmic fragments which measure up to 8 microns, which can be seen on cytological examination of the lymph node. In this diagram we can appreciate the FNA smears. This is the FNA smear representing poorly defined tissue fragments composed of centroblasts, centrocytes, and tingible body macrophage and the lymphoid and the lymphocytes. And here we can appreciate here is the small blood vessels shown. which represent that the FNA smear is aspirated from the germinal center. To understand the cytology more, we can we would see some common diseases that we encountered while doing the cytology of the while studying the cytology of the lymph node. First is the reactive hyperplasia. Reactive hyperplasia is most commonly in pediatric and adolescent age group, which is the hyperplasia of the lymph node. In this FNA smear prepared, we can appreciate here is the plasma cell, the cleaved nucleus, the cell with the cleaved nucleus is the centrocyte, centroblast, and tingible body macrophages, and also the main component is small lymphocyte. This is a diagram showing dendritic lymphocyte aggregate, also called as follicular center fragments, where we can appreciate are the clusters of dendritic cell, small lymphocytes, centroblast, centrocytes, along with the capillary. This is the capillary here. Then moving on towards the most common disease that we have, most common disease in India is the Mycobacterium lymphadenitis, also called as granulomatous lymphadenitis. In this diagram we can see is the Leishman stain preparation from the granulomatous tuberculosis, showing epithelioid granuloma with lymphocytes. This is the most common cytological picture we encountered while we study the FNA smear of tuberculosis. Then we move to the bacteriological causes of the lymphadenitis, bacteriological smear of the lymphadenitis. Here in this smear we can appreciate our multiple neutrophilic populations, degenerated neutrophilic population, along with the bacterial cocci here and here. Then then we move towards the cat scratch disease. This is also the causative organism of cat scratch disease is Bartonella hensleyi. The main which is often caused due to cat scratch or bite in young adult. Peripheral lymphadenopathy is most common but very important system which resolves in 1 to 4 months. The smears prepared, the FNA smeared prepared from a tender and matted lymph node show neutrophils and variable sized sized granulomas. This cat scratch disease, why it is important? Because it mimics the either it mimics the granulomatous TB or reactive hyperplasia.